Well, well, well. Look at what the cat dragged in. And by what, I mean who. And by who, I mean you, because you are here for our last class of Unit 2. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Give yourselves a round of applause. It's an emotional day. It's the end of an era. I'm holding back tears. Okay, we'll live. We're going to be fine. So while it's a special day because it's our last class of Unit 2, what we're talking about today is not particularly noteworthy. We're picking up right where we left off, and we're finishing up our discussion of problem solving with inequalities. So I'm not going to waste your time. Let's jump right in. In a drastic turn of events, the Grim Reaper offers to sell you his soul for the low price of $200. That's a little more than you can afford right now, though. So you agree to spread out the cost and pay it off in chunks over the course of several months. You give him $50 up front and agree to cover the rest of the cost at a rate of $30 each month. Let's write and solve an inequality to represent the number of months you'll need to fully pay off your purchase. So again, we're practicing our skill of algebraic representation. Remember, we've got a 5-step checklist that can help guide us through that process and make the idea of going from words to symbols move a little bit more smoothly. What are the pieces of the checklist that are useful to us here? What are the parts of this problem that are going to be helpful in building my inequality? And then most importantly, how am I going to go about solving it? Go ahead, play around. Give yourselves a 3-minute timer. Let's see if we can write and solve an inequality. Have at it. Alrighty, maybe you got it, maybe you didn't, but you've got the Grim Reaper's soul in your hands. About time we make some good decisions with it. So, what is my first step? Well, I might want to ask myself, do I need a diagram? I could draw a pretty picture of the Grim Reaper, but as nice as that is, it's not going to help me solve my problem. No diagram needed. Next up, let's define our variable step 2. So the thing that I'm looking for, if I read through my problem, is the number of months I need to pay off my purchase. So I need a variable to represent that. Maybe I'll use m for months. So I'll say m will be the number of months that I need to pay back the Grim Reaper. In this case, I like to usually include parentheses with the unit off to the side, but I included months in my variable definition. I'm Gucci. From here, step 3, I next might want to ask, does this problem need a chart? Well, there's no particular formula or equation I'm using here, no chart necessary. Step 4, let's build our inequality. Well, reading through and parsing the stuff that's actually useful, I know that the total amount that I pay is $200, so I'll write that down. There's my total. What is the total comprised of? Well, I've got $50 that I pay to begin with, and then $30 that I pay per month. And if I think about that total, well, the 50 happens just once. And then how, in symbols, would I represent the fact that I'm paying the $30 each month? Think back to last time, think back to Unit 1. How would I represent this idea in symbols? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hopefully you remember. If I take the amount I pay in 1 month, and I multiply that by the number of months that I'm paying for, that should give me the total amount that I pay per month. So I'm going to take my $30 per month, my monthly rate. If I multiply that by the m number of months that I'm paying off my debt, that should give me the amount of money I pay in total. Very good. Now, the last part of this that's going to be a little bit weird is, where does my inequality symbol live? Well, I told the Grim Reaper I'd pay $30 each month, so I have to pay that $30. But there's the possibility that I could pay more. So if I'm thinking about the amount of months that it'll take, I'm going to need at least this amount, but it could be less than that if I'm paying more. So my inequality symbol, I could be exactly this number of months, or I could be a little bit less. So I'm going to have a less than or equal to symbol. If you've got this inequality, great. Maybe you solved it, maybe you didn't. If you want to pause the video and solve it, be my guest. Or if you've already got it solved, let's do it together. So I want to get m by itself. In order to do that, let's subtract our 50. Reverse order of operations, get rid of our 50 first. That leaves me with 30m is less than or equal to 200 minus 50, which is 150. Last thing between me and m by itself, let's divide both sides by 30. 30 divided by 30 is 1. So m is less than or equal to 150 divided by 30, which is 5. Last thing I need is my units. So I'm not talking about dolphins, I'm not talking about lemons, I'm talking about months. So it will take me 5 months or less to pay off my debt, right? If I pay more than that $30 base each month, then it'll take me less time. If I pay exactly that $30, it should take me 5 months. Very nice. Uno más. The multi-billion-dollar tech conglomerate Banana releases their brand new U-phone, which is only capable of operating within a certain temperature range. Below 0 degrees Celsius, it's going to be too cold, but above 35 degrees Celsius, it will overheat. Let's write and solve an inequality that represents the possible operating temperatures, that should say temperatures, not tempi rates, we're going to pretend that I spelled that correctly, of the U-phone in Fahrenheit. So the problem is that I want Fahrenheit, but I'm in Celsius. Look back at your notes from Unit 1. Do you remember how to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius? Five, four, three, two, one. Well, in this case, I know that to get from Fahrenheit to Celsius, if I take my temperature in Fahrenheit, I subtract 32, and then I multiply by 5/9, that should give me my temperature in Celsius. So with all of this in mind, the variable that I'm going to be working with, right, I'm trying to find the temperature in Fahrenheit. So let's let that variable F represent the temperature of our phone in Fahrenheit. Cool. And now, well, what do I know about the temperature in Celsius? So Celsius temperature, in other words, C, has to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Well, it's got to be between 0 and 35 degrees Celsius, right? If I go below 0, then I get too cold. If I go above 35, I get too hot. So the value must be sandwiched in between the 0 and 35. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. What does that tell you about the type of inequality you're going to write? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hopefully this tells you if I've got a sandwich, my value in Celsius, it's got to be between two things. It's a compound inequality. So in this case, Celsius is between 0 and 35, right? I say if I go below 0, then it would be a problem. So if I'm greater than or equal to 0, I'll be okay. If I'm less than or equal to 35, I'll be okay, right? It's only when I go above that 35 or below that 0 that I have a problem. So both of these should get nor equal to. But again, I don't want temperature in Celsius. I want temperature in Fahrenheit. So I'm going to take my Celsius, I'm going to replace it with my Fahrenheit. I know that 5/9 of F minus 32 needs to be sandwiched between these two numbers. Fantastic. If you got this inequality, amazing. If you solved it already, amazing. Don't bother pausing. If you need a little bit of time to solve, give yourselves a 2-minute timer, put a pause on the video. Let's solve for F, and then we'll come back. Okay, so if you didn't pause, that means you've got it. Let's take our F. I want to get F by itself, so I have a negative 32 and a 5/9 to get rid of. Reverse order of operations says probably want to do plus 32 first, but I can't. Why not? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I've got a 5/9 in or around the parentheses. Parentheses are grouping symbols. I've got to get rid of the 5/9 first. So let's divide both sides by 5/9. It's currently joined by multiplication. But of course, dividing by 5/9 is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal, which is 9/5. So I'm going to take all three of these and multiply by 9/5. It's a compound inequality. What I do to one part, I must do to all parts. In the middle, 5/9 and 9/5, they cancel out. So I'm just left with F minus 32. On the left, this is easy. 0 times anything is 0, so 0 times 9/5 will be 0. Let's figure out what 35 times 9/5 is. Well, if I want to do 35 times 9/5, think of 35 as 35 over 1. Notice here, I can cross simplify the 35 and the 5. 5 goes into 35 7 times. 7 over 1 times 9 over 1 gives me 63. And last thing I've got to do to get f by itself, let's add 32 to all three parts of our inequality. So in this case, 0 plus 32 is 32. I've got f by itself. In the middle, our minus and plus 32 undo each other. And then on the right, 63 plus 32 is 95. So our solved compound inequality tells us that our temperature in Fahrenheit must be between 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, if you want to write this as a complete sentence, be my guest. As long as you include your units, you're good. Alrighty, one last problem of Unit 2. A gender-neutral prom rental shop loans out blazers to prospective prom goers. Its smallest has a sleeve length of 20 inches, and its largest has sleeves 40 inches long. According to the shop, the ideal length of a blazer's sleeves should be about 1.2 times the length of the wearer's arm. I want to write and solve an inequality that represents the arm lengths of people that the shop would not provide blazers for. So take 30 seconds. Before anything else, what does that not tell you needs to happen? Alrighty, so if I'm talking about not, a knot tells me that I've got some stuff that's knotted up, right? I've got maybe a string that I've tied. No, in this case, I'm talking about the opposite of something. So whatever inequality I write for the people that I would represent, it needs to be the opposite for what would not be. So let's take our inequality here. In this case, what am I solving for? Well, the thing that I want to find is the arm lengths of the people who I can't give a blazer for. So let's say, maybe I'll use A for arm length. Let's let A represent the arm length of our people. And in this case, my unit, I know that sleeves are measured in inches, so I'll say that my length of my arm is measured in inches as well. With our variable defined, what inequality could you write here? Is it going to be compound? Is it going to be a single inequality? I don't know. You tell me. Look at your problem. Give yourselves a minute. Come up with a potential inequality that represents what's happening here. What pieces of information are useful, and how can I slot them into place? Go ahead. Alrighty. For the last time of Unit 2, let's chat. So, looking at what I've got, I know that the range, in this case, hopefully because I see two numbers here, I'm between 20 and 40, I've again got a compound inequality. So my lower boundary is 20 inches, my upper boundary is 40 inches. So the people that I would be able to represent need to be between 20 and 40. But I want the opposite. I want people that I would not be able to. So in this case, that tells me that the people that I wouldn't be able to either have to be less than 20 inches or greater than 40 inches in arm length. So this here represents the people that I wouldn't be able to solve for. So I know that my blazers are in this case going to be represented by these numbers. And I know that arm length, the ideal, is 1.2 times whatever the arm length is. So I've got 1.2 times my arm length. Well, my arm length, we said, is A. So all I've got to do is take these numbers and divide by 1.2. So to get A by itself on the left, I'm going to divide both sides by 1.2, divide both sides by 1.2. Same thing here. We'll divide both sides by 1.2. We'll solve here our OR, compound inequality. Well, on the left side, 1.2 divided by 1.2, that just leaves me with A. And then on the right side, I've just got to figure out what 20 divided by 1.2 is? Well, feel free to fact check me. You're welcome to use a calculator if you'd like. If I take 20 and divide it by 1.2, I believe that should get me to 16.6 repeating. I might choose to write 1.2 as a fraction instead. The way that I could write this, I could say 16 2/3 if I wanted to. I could say 16.6 repeating. If I really wanted to, I could write this as an improper fraction. So I do 3 times 16, which is 48, times that by 2, which is 50/3. In this case, if I'm talking about inches, I might actually leave it as the mixed number, 16 2/3. So I'll say 16 2/3 inches here. And then I have 40 divided by 1.2. Well, 40 is just 20 times 2, so if I take this number and multiply it by 2, that'll give me something as well. If you divide 40 by 1.2, that should give you 33 1/3. So in this case, that tells me here, the people that I cannot provide a blazer for, either they have an arm length below 16 2/3 inches, or they have an arm length of 33 1/3 inches or more. Alrighty, my dears, congratulations. You have made it to the end of Unit 2. Thank you as always for all of your hard work, all of your focus, all of your dedication. I will see you when I see you, and at the very least, I will definitely see you in Unit 3.